Many Metro Atlanta locals would say that Milton is better than Alpharetta, but what makes Milton such a great city and why do so many people want to move here? Let's talk about that. What's up, y'all? My name is Victor with Atlanta Suburban Living, and I make videos every week about what it's like to live in Atlanta and the surrounding suburbs. If you're thinking about buying a home in Atlanta or any of the suburbs, or you just have any questions about what it's like to live here, feel free to call, text, or email me anytime. Thank you so much to everybody who has reached out. I'm always happy to help. But Milton is certainly one of the best suburbs in all of Metro Atlanta, and possibly even better than Alpharetta. I know so many people love Alpharetta, and we hear so many great things about Alpharetta. I too am a fan of Alpharetta, and I think it's a great city to live in. But Milton is a bit different, so let's talk about what makes this city unique. First of all, you should know that Milton is just north of Alpharetta, and it's still in Fulton County. So both of these cities, Milton and Alpharetta, are in Fulton County. Also in Fulton County are Atlanta, Roswell, Sandy Springs, East Point College Park. So Fulton County is one of the largest counties in all of Georgia, and it's kind of like the main county that has Atlanta and some of the other suburbs. The thing about Milton is that it's very different from a lot of the other cities in Fulton County. It's way different than Atlanta. Atlanta obviously has that like city vibe, that urban vibe. You could get around with no vehicle. You could live in Atlanta, not have a vehicle, and easily get around using public transportation. However, Milton is all the way on the north side of Fulton County, miles and miles away from Atlanta, and it's completely different. Milton is more of a rural feeling town. It's kind of a small town, but it's like super spread out. And this is one of the things that makes Milton so unique, and one of the reasons why so many people want to live there. They get away from all of the crowds and all of the traffic. And so Milton really provides that kind of like privacy. You don't want to have to deal with the traffic. You don't want to deal with like the long lines at the grocery store. Milton is a great area for that. Another thing that separates this city from the rest of Fulton County is that it is like this open farmland, rolling hills kind of area. Keep in mind that the farther north you go in Georgia, the closer you get to the North Georgia mountains. So some of these suburbs that are really far north in Metro Atlanta start to be like the foothills of the North Georgia mountains. And Milton is just that. You start to see a lot of the rolling green hills all over because it's kind of like the entryway almost to the North Georgia mountains. And this is one of the things that makes this city so unique and why it's so beautiful. You have these open pastures. Just driving through Milton really gives you a sense of like, oh, this is super different from the rest of Metro Atlanta. This is kind of like a small town, lots of big lot sizes for the homes. Another reason why so many people are moving here, like it's hard to find big lot sizes in like Alpharetta or Roswell or especially Sandy Springs. These cities are too populated. They have too many homes to find, 5-10 acres of land. Like it's pretty difficult to find a home on 10 acres in Alpharetta just because there is so many people living there. It's too densely populated. But Milton, just north of Alpharetta, is far less densely populated and easy to find 10 acres of land. Now, you're going to be paying a premium for those 10 acres. It's not like getting 10 acres out in like South Georgia where nobody lives and nobody wants to live. A lot of people want to live in Milton, and the average home value is a bit higher there. So that 10 acres or any amount of acres for that matter is going to be a bit more expensive than other parts of Metro Atlanta. No question that one of the main reasons why so many people want to live in Milton is because of its proximity to Alpharetta. Yes, Alpharetta is one of the most popular suburbs, but a lot of times like the people who live in Alpharetta and maybe they retire, they want to get away from Alpharetta, they retire to Milton. Or the people who want that Alpharetta Alpharetta feel. They want to be close to downtown Alpharetta or to the shopping that you can find in Alpharetta, but they don't want the crowd of Alpharetta. They will go 15, 20, 25 minutes north to Milton. So you can be close to Alpharetta. You can have all of those amenities, but still have that distance between you and the crowds and the traffic. So definitely one of the big reasons why so many people are moving to Milton. And then I'd say another reason is because of the style of the homes there in Milton. Keep in mind that Milton is really just now starting to grow in the last 5 to 10 years. So there are a lot of new homes in Milton, and the style of homes that you find in Milton are very often matching that kind of farm, open pasture style of the land in Milton. So you have a lot of farmhouses in Milton, these kinds of like modern HGTV, farmhouses that are like 5,000 square feet and all white fronts of the home. Like that kind of farmhouse style home is super common in this city. And that really brings a lot of people to this area as well. Many people want to buy homes that have that style, and you can certainly find it here in Milton. Even though the city is relatively new, you can still actually find a really good downtown city center area for Milton. At the intersection of Crabapple Road and Broadwell Road is like the city center downtown part of Milton. Now, keep in mind, it's not actually the center of Milton. This is really on the very southern end of Milton, and I believe it used to be Alpharetta. It definitely used to be Alpharetta, but they've annexed it to include Milton so that they can have this kind of city center or downtown area, whatever, of Milton. And there are a lot of shops there, a lot of restaurants, and it's certainly growing all the time. Lots of new businesses popping up all around this downtown area and in Milton in general. But it's definitely not the middle of the city of Milton. The middle of Milton, again, is super rural. Like there's nothing out there but a bunch of land, a bunch of homes, quiet neighborhoods. And this is really ultimately why so many people are moving to this city, to get away from the crowds and to find that super peaceful vibe that you find here in Milton. I think one thing you should keep in mind though about Milton is that a lot of small towns, like super small Georgia towns, tend to be kind of not well run. This is not the case for Milton because of its proximity to Atlanta and to Alpharetta. It is very well run. They have a great fire department, police department. Like in general, the services from the city and the county are very good in Milton. This is not the case with other small towns in Georgia. There are really a lot of sucky small towns in Georgia where like the streets are not taken care of, and the power lines are falling over, and one simple storm can cause power lines to tip over. And this is kind of common in some of these super south small towns of Georgia, but Milton is the exception to the rule. It's very well taken care of. They are constantly doing updating in this city. They are constantly taking care of the area. And a big part of that has to do with the amount of tax money and taxpayers that they have in Milton. These small, sucky rural towns of Georgia, they don't have the tax money to take care of the city as well as Milton does. But there are a lot of very expensive homes in Milton, a lot of wealthy people in Milton. And so that tax money goes a long way to take care of the city. And in general, the view, the vibe, the feel of Milton is unlike some of the other small towns in Georgia. The vibe of Milton is super peaceful. It's very beautiful. Just driving through Milton gives off a great vibe. And so if you're thinking about buying a home in Milton, there are a few different options. There are certainly a lot of subdivisions in Milton where you can buy that kind of farmhouse style home. But really, more common than not, there are standalone homes, not in an HOA, where you can get 5 acres of land and that kind of beautiful farmhouse style home. And so they really have a lot of the two different options: neighborhood with an HOA or home that is not in an HOA. This is not as common in like Alpharetta or Roswell. Alpharetta, Roswell, Marietta, these are almost all subdivisions with an HOA. But Milton is a bit different as it's still growing a lot and there's still a lot of development happening there. There are still quite a few homes that are not yet in an HOA. So this is helpful. Again, the people who are looking to get away from Alpharetta, they don't want the crowd. They don't want all of the things that come with a densely populated area. They also tend to not want an HOA. So this is another reason why so many people are moving to Milton. In general, there are a lot of great things going for this city, and there's no question that it's going to be exploding in growth every year for the next 10 years. But there are some downsides to living in Milton, and some of these things really kind of are surprising and they suck. Like, I think all of the homes have septic tanks. I don't believe yet that they have sewer lines going through Milton. Again, it's a relatively new city, so all of the homes are on septic still. And so there are a lot of other reasons that people kind of stay away from Milton. And if you're thinking about moving to Milton, you definitely need to know what those reasons are. In fact, I made a whole video on the pros and the cons of living in Milton. You can check it out right here. I'll see you in the next one.